Okay, so this is Tuesday?
Yes.
Tuesday, day 17, I believe. Um, yeah, so we got out of the hotel we were in because it was on the south side of town and it took us forever to get anywhere. Um, the Uber fees were getting expensive, 25 bucks a ride. So anyway, we moved to a place. It's a Red Lion hotel, kind of in downtown near the river. Very much the Shining vibes. Um, if you're a Doctor Who fan, there's an episode where they're in a hotel and everything's kind of weird. You'll know which episode I'm talking about. Um, yeah, everything about the hotel's weird. I mean, I parked out in the parking lot and used my key to get back in the building, and all of a sudden I'm noticing there's like names on all the doors, and this lady sees me in the hallway. Is like, can I help you? And I'm like, no, I'm just going to my room. Well, you're not supposed to be in this wing of the hotel. And I'm like, okay, I don't know why. And turns out it's like a medical wing. I don't know. They've got like people, they've got an alarm on one of the doors. If you're inside and you try to get into that wing and you're not like a healthcare person, it trips an alarm. And, I got in there just by coming in through an outside door using my key like you do at any other hotel from the parking lot. Anyway, it's kind of weird. They got a lot of people that are just living there. They're not like all old I don't know if this is like a post-COVID thing and people are just living there off the government dollar and the hotel's making cash off. I don't know. It was weird. So anyway, we got out of there. Uh, our room's right next to that. Elevator's kind of weird. Little girl that's working in the elevator claimed to be cleaning the elevator, and she was just going up and down, playing on her phone. Had a little fan because she was hot. She was blowing herself. I didn't see her cleaning anything. I think she was just chilling out, playing with her phone. Anyway, so they let us check in early because we had to be out of the other hotel by 11. And, normally you can't check in until 3. So I called over here and told her what was going on. She said, yeah, come on over. We got a room. And so we got to check in here a little after noon. And then it's like, well, we're hungry. So we decided we want to go to a Red Robin, which was pretty far away. So another Uber, 12 bucks plus a tip, to get there. I think it was about 3 miles, something like that, 3.1 miles. We get there. The guy that drove us was George, this old guy from Romania that's been here since 1990, 33 years. Kind of interesting driving with this guy through downtown, because every green light he would slow down at the intersection, look both ways, and then go through the intersection so people would honk at him. But he was a sweet guy, Asked him how he got into driving Uber, and his wife's like, you got a nice car, get out there and earn some money. And I was like, okay, so that's just her telling you, you're driving me crazy, get out of the house. He's like, yeah, pretty much. So he dropped us off. We sit down, get ready to order, and I think we just ordered, and I get a call from the dealership saying the bikes are ready. And I'm like, man, if they had called 30, 40 minutes earlier, I could have maybe, got a refund on the hotel, and we could have taken off today and started riding, even though we had a pretty good ride. But, it's cool. We had a decent lunch there at Red Robin, and then we decided to go walking, the what they call the green belt here, where the river runs through town. It's got all these really cool little bike paths and sidewalks and trails, and you can stick your feet in the water, and just really beautiful parks. I mean, big, beautiful trees, and unlike home, the grass up here is green and soft and lush still. It's not crunchy and burnt and dead. So yeah, we hung out in the park, and then decided, okay, we better get back to the dealership. I don't want to get there right before they close to pick up the bikes. I wanted to get there. They close at 6. I wanted to get there around 4 if we could. So I didn't want to get an Uber for 2 miles, so we started walking. Probably should have gotten an Uber. My hips and my knees, especially my feet, lower back, anything that moves hurts, just aches. But it's probably good for me to be walking because I don't do a lot of walking. And what was supposed to have been a low carb trip, not. We lots of milkshakes, ice cream, you name it, Rice Krispie treats, uh, Red Bulls, junk. So anyway, we had a really cool walk all the way back through the park, just following the Google Maps to get back to the hotel. And it was 90 degrees, so I mean we were hot and we're sweating, but it was pleasant because it wasn't like my entire shirt was drenched all the way down to my underwear, and my underwear was soaked and my socks were soaked like it would be at home. It's just you're sweating a little bit, and as soon as you stop, you dry out in a couple of minutes, and it feels great, you know. So we got back to the hotel eventually, got all of our gear. I got my bike, got a what do you call it, another Uber, and Daniel and Sarah got in the Uber, and I'm guessing they told the guy that I was going to be following, but this dude took off like a jackrabbit. I think I kept up with him for, I don't know, 3 or 4 blocks before he got to a stop sign and got through it, and I couldn't get through because traffic going the other way didn't stop. And yeah, it was a long time before I could get a break and get through there. And fortunately, I knew where I was going with GPS. So got there. He was long gone. I never even saw him. The kids were already standing inside the dealership talking to the service guy, and he wheeled out the bikes, and they completely replaced Daniel's shock with a brand new shock. Got it set up to the same settings and everything. Replaced his rear brake pads. I don't know if they bled it or not, but anyway, his bike was good to go. And then Sarah's bike, I'm not exactly sure what they did, but they did get it so that the back brake lever now has pressure. When you first start pushing on it, you get pressure pretty quick. You don't have to go all the way to the bottom of the travel of the lever to try to get a little bit of pressure. Now, the lever's still a little bit messed up from where it got broken and welded, and it's not the exact correct height, and we may need to try to tweak it a little bit. But they both went for a test drive and, went a few blocks up and back, came back, thumbs up, and they were happy. And, earlier I'd told Sarah, I was like, what do you think the odds are that we're going to get out of here for under $1,000? And she's like, no, I don't know. And we get in there, and the guy's like, okay, let's do the paperwork. And I walk over, and it's like $991.20 or something like that. And I was like, okay, under $1,000. I was impressed because, that included the cost of the shock, overnight shipping to get the shock here, their labor, which is $115 an hour, replacing the brake pads, pad parts. I guess, and they probably didn't charge us a whole lot for whatever they did to Sarah's bike. There is still an issue with the bracket that the foot peg mounts to. Is the bolts that hold it on are bent back. They didn't fix that. They just got the pressure part fixed. So eventually, probably after we get through the trip and get home, I'll have to pull the bolts off and pull the bracket off, see if the bracket's bent. And if the bracket's fine, I know the bolts are bent, so I'll probably have to replace a couple bolts. Yeah, whatever, So we had a nice evening, got the bikes, decided to go ride back down to, there's a zoo here in town. There was that part of the park's real nice right next to the zoo. So we went over there, parked the bikes, walked over by the river, took off the riding gear. Of course, everybody's staring at us. And just went down by the river and soaked our feet for a while because it just felt really good. It was a beautiful evening. There were some guys out there doing, what do you call it, Daniel? It's not high wire. What? What do you call the guys that were tight? No, it's not tightrope. They had a word for it. Tightrope.
Slackline.
Slackline, that's what they call it, yeah. So they had these slackline that's probably about, 12 feet off the ground, going all the way across the park. I mean, this thing was 150 feet long at least. And of course, when the guy stands in the middle of it, it's like 1.5 feet off the ground from his weight. But if he slipped and fell, depending on how he fell, either he goes to one side or the other and it's no big deal, or he straddles it and that thing pops back real quick and not pretty. So anyway, we watched those guys, went over and talked to them for a while. They were pretty cool guys. We were talking about the bike trip and everything. Sarah even came over and talked to them, which was amazing. She's not real big on talking to strangers. But anyway, we left there, went to Chick-fil-A, got dinner, and we tried to go to this place just on the edge of town called Table Rock, which is like a scenic overlook. And you drive up through the high altitude neighborhood, high dollar neighborhood, unbelievably beautiful homes. Get all the way to the top, locked gate. They locked the gate an hour before sunset. It's like, why would you have a scenic overlook to look over the city and lock it an hour before sunset? I mean, okay, I could see maybe an hour after, 30 minutes after, something. But the whole point of going up there is see a pretty evening, not go up there at noon and fry yourself because in the heat of the day. So anyway, it was just kind of a cool ride. We came back down through the neighborhood and still got to see a pretty neat overlook. Saw the moon coming up through the brown haze, and so it was larger than life and kind of rusty colored. And right next to it was a lit up cross up on top of the mountain where all the big radio towers are. They put a big, huge white cross up there that was lit up. It was pretty cool. And we got to see over the city, and then we got to ride back through the city, right through the heart of the downtown at night. Cars everywhere, lights everywhere. And eventually found our way back to our hotel. And met a guy who claimed to be, was it marketing, vice president of marketing for Eric Buell when they designed the Ulysses adventure bike back in the day. There's a lot of alcohol on his breath. He may have been full of it. I don't know. Claimed to be from Wisconsin. Who knows? You meet interesting people. I really didn't get time to talk to him a lot. It was just an elevator ride and then a second or two outside his room before he went back inside. So yeah, we're going to get up tomorrow, head through Idaho City, Stanley, eventually end up in a place called Chalice, I think. And that's supposed to be a camping night, hopefully. And there's hot springs there. And so, yeah, it's about 190 miles, but it's only like a 4-hour ride. So if we get out of here, 9 o'clock night normal, we can get there at 1, kind of hang out, relax, soak in the hot springs, have a good day, back on the bikes finally. It's all pavement, but it's supposed to be really twisty, really fun, so looking forward to it. It was kind of weird riding around town on the bikes without all the luggage and all the weight. Both kids were like, oh my God, this feels crazy. I'm not used to this at all because they'd already gotten used to having all that weight on the bike. We're getting ready to leave the dealership, and I turn around, look back, and Sarah's over there with her left leg sticking out in the air, and she's trying to keep the bike from tipping over on the right side. I'm thinking, oh great, we just got that brake fixed, and you're going to dump the bike in the park before you even get out of the parking lot. She kind of had that look on her face like, oh my God, this can't be happening. And she managed to save it, and we got out of the parking lot without any issues. But the dealership, Carl's Cycle Sales, really nice guys. I forgot the name of the guy that I got his card. I put the picture in the ride report. But he was a really nice guy, very helpful. I mean, and they were busy, and they got us in and got us out fast, and they didn't stick it to us or anything else on the labor or anything. I mean, they were good to us, and it's a really nice dealership. They have so many cool looking bikes, and they had a ton of gas bikes, trials bikes, all kinds of Kawasaki's, had a few snowmobiles and some side-by-sides and stuff, but predominantly it was motorcycles. I mean, I was really shocked because most of the places you go into, they have like, the 2 or 3 bikes off to one side, and then they've got like 50 side-by-sides and 20 wave runners and all the other stuff. So anyway, if you find yourself in Boise, it's on West State Street, which is kind of north of the downtown area. Not too hard to find, and they're really good folks, and they got tons of accessories in there, so if you need anything, there's a good chance they might have it. Looked at buying new communicators to replace our old 8-year-old Sena S20S's that are having some issues. Oh my God, the Cardo Edge Pack Talk whatever, it would have been like $1,100 for 3 of them or something like that. I mean, really expensive. I mean, I know things have gone up, but that's a lot. I didn't want to spend that much, so we're going to try to tough it out with these Senas and see how things go. And yeah, that's pretty much a wrap. We'll let you know how tomorrow goes when we get back on the bikes. Bye.